Greatest lightweights of all time. No longer in the shadow of Khabib Nurmagomedov. Remarkable the body of work he has put forth in the octagon this far.
It's so hard to beat Islam Makhachev because the expectation was on him from day one to be great. He's done it time and time again. He's exceeded the expectation. And that's because he has all the skills. Great wrestling. Great striking. The man can do it all inside the octagon, and that is why.
And of course, the late great Abdulmanap Nurmagomedov, not here, but front of mind for all of these athletes, and goes here tonight. Islam Makhachev steps inside the octagon. He is ready to fight. Tonight with a chance, DC, not only to defend this belt for a third time, but to do something that his mentor and brother Khabib Nurmagomedov never did, which is to say win a 14th fight inside the octagon.
Yeah, win 14 fights inside the octagon and like 13 in a row. He is quickly becoming one of the guys to be considered the greatest lightweight of all time. He has all the skills. He's a tremendous wrestler, tremendous grappler, but it's his striking that I think separates him from most. He's a really high-level striker, the guy that carries a ton of confidence. I remember being in the gym with this kid from the very first day, and it always felt like an eventuality.
I'm a puppet on a string, Tracy Island, time traveling diamond, could achieve heartaches.
And it's an entrance that's becoming almost iconic here at Cage Warriors. Ian Garry walking out to the Arctic Monkeys, are you mine? And I think that's a question that he asks himself every time he looks at the picture of the Cage Warriors welterweight title. I mean, if you believe everything that Ian Garry says, that belt's practically his already. Dan, is there any chance that this young man is overconfident, if anything?
Well, it's always a possibility, but you know, you don't get very far with a lack of confidence in this sport. And you know, when it comes to throwing punches, you need confidence to commit to those things. And Rustam Akman, you've got to bear in mind, he's coming off 2 losses. He's been released from the UFC. That's not going to do wonders for his confidence. He's stepping in there against an undefeated fighter that's coming in with all of this confidence oozing out of him. I mean, that alone will put pressure on Rustam Akman because he knows he has to perform tonight. Gary's expected to perform.
Well, we've seen him be nothing but successful here on Cage Warriors in recent years. Put together a phenomenal record, and the wins just get a little bit more.
At 6 feet 3 inches tall, Ian Machado Garry brings a rare combination of size, reach, movement, and confidence into the welterweight division. With only 1 defeat on his record, he is now preparing for the biggest challenge of his career, stepping into the octagon against Islam Makhachev for the UFC Welterweight Championship. This is the story of how Garry is preparing to dethrone one of the most dominant grapplers in the sport, and what he has been doing behind the scenes to get ready for this massive challenge.
It's a hard fight for Ian Garry. It's a hard fight for Islam Makhachev. I believe that this fight will be determined by what happens in the beginning of the fight. If Garry is able to stay upright for the first round, it could be a long night for Islam. But if Islam is able to secure takedowns early or get close to Ian Garry, I believe that then the fight will start to sway in his side. I was watching a video recently where John Jones was speaking about him and I's relationship and talking about, you know what, Luis, just...
Garry versus Makhachev is being presented as much more than a normal championship fight. It has been framed as Ireland versus Dagestan, striker versus grappler, and a matchup that has naturally drawn comparisons to some of the biggest rivalries in UFC history. But before the cage door closes, Garry has spent his preparation focused on solving one major problem: how to stop Islam Makhachev from turning the fight into a grappling battle.
Because of the styles, I think Islam Makhachev have maybe more ways to win the fight. So if I'm just thinking rational, according to the odds, I think it favors Makhachev. But Ian Garry definitely has all the chance also on his side to do it. He's a very good striker. He's very long. He's great grappler as well. But he need, I think, to find a way to keep the fight standing, you know, like, and to use his his style to his own advantage. But Islam Makhachev is, stylistically, he's a freaking nightmare to fight for anyone. He's, I think, right now, the best pound for pound on the planet.
Ian Machado Garry currently sits among the top welterweights in the UFC, carrying a record of 17 wins and 1 loss according to the material provided. His only defeat came against Shavkat Rakhmonov by decision, but Garry responded strongly afterward. He returned with an important victory over Carlos Prates before defeating former champion Belal Mohammed by unanimous decision in Doha. That win significantly strengthened his case for a championship opportunity and ultimately set up his matchup with Makhachev at UFC 330 on August 15, 2026 in Philadelphia.
We're used to talking about him as a potential opportunity or a matchup. So if he beats him, then, definitely we can run it, for the next show, the year anniversary in Cleveland, Ohio for RAF 12.
Speaking of you being the former interim welterweight champion of the UFC, next UFC card, they have Islam Makhachev versus Ian Machado Garry. Who do you favor in that?
I favor Makhachev for sure. I think he's just going to take him down and dictate his pace and put the fight where he wants to fight. He's too strong for that little twig, that little cuck that sits in the corner and watches his wife get dogged out by the nutritionist. So, I got Islam. Islam ain't doing that.
Makhachev enters the matchup as the reigning welterweight champion after defeating Jack Della Maddalena for the 170-pound title. That makes Garry's challenge especially difficult because he is not simply facing an elite wrestler. He is facing a champion who has already proven that his grappling-based style can control high-level opponents under championship pressure.
Has Ian any different than your past opponents? Because obviously he's very tall, he's very rangy, he can make the fight slow if he wants to. What do you make of his skill set?
His skills, I just have to run in this camp too much because I have to follow him because he runs too much, I know his game plan, we always see his fight and he has same style always. But I will try to catch him, take him down, just what I did with my all opponents.
He's done a lot of his camp, obviously, with Charles Oliveira. He's trained a lot. Is there anything Charles can tell him about you that you're worried about?
Yeah, Charles is going to teach him how to tap fast.
That is why Garry's training camp has reportedly placed such a major emphasis on wrestling and grappling. Instead of simply preparing in his usual environment, Garry traveled to Georgia, a country renowned for its deep wrestling culture, with the goal of sharpening his takedown defense and becoming more comfortable in the areas where Makhachev is most dangerous.
Islam, he's fighting next UFC 330 next month against Ian Machado Garry. You're good at predictions, so who do you got in that fight?
I got Islam.
How?
It's a tough fight. I think it's a submission.
Submission?
But I gotta rewatch Ian Garry's fight because I don't know him very well. People saying he has a good takedown defense.
Yeah. So we'll rewatch and come back to that.
So because I know everything in my division.
Yeah.
But I don't know a lot of people in 170, so I cannot say. But Islam right now he's the best, so it's a little bit hard to beat him.
How would you grade this?
Garry has also continued working with head coach Diego Lima at Shoot Box, who has been part of his development since 2023. Lima has consistently expressed confidence in Garry's overall skill set, but the preparation for this fight requires a different mentality. The idea is not simply to prepare for another 5-round fight. Garry has reportedly been encouraged to approach this camp like he is preparing for a war, knowing that surviving the difficult moments could be just as important as creating spectacular moments of his own.
It's going to be very important for him. I do think, though, once he's able to get Ian Garry on the ground, I don't think it's going to happen round one. If he does, it's possible, but I think he's going to have to break him down bit by bit. And then as Ian Garry starts to get frustrated and, the mistakes start to happen, that's where I think Islam Makhachev can capitalize on the ground with the submission. But it's going to take some time. It's going to take excellent execution of strategy and tactics. So I think because of that, Ian Garry is not an easy out at all. Just because Islam has a huge advantage on the ground, size does matter, as you said.
Another major focus is Garry's physical advantages. At 6 feet 3 inches with a reported 74-inch reach, he has the length and range to create serious problems for opponents. His movement and ability to strike from distance could force Makhachev to cover more ground before attempting to establish his grappling game. To prepare for that type of challenge, Garry's camp has reportedly brought in tall, rangy sparring partners to help recreate the physical demands of the matchup. The purpose is straightforward: become comfortable dealing with long-range exchanges, while simultaneously defending against the pressure and takedown attempts that Makhachev is expected to bring. Garry also enters the fight with plenty of motivation. He has spent months expressing frustration over the delays surrounding the matchup and has made it clear that he does not simply want to win. He wants to make a statement. His goal is to prove that his size, movement, striking, and improved defensive wrestling can hold up against one of the best grapplers in the sport. There is also a personal element behind the name Ian Machado Garry. He adopted the Machado name as a tribute to his wife's family, explaining that he wanted his children to grow up sharing the same family name. It's a smaller part of the story, but it adds another dimension to a fighter who is now chasing one of the biggest accomplishments of his career. And that leaves the biggest question heading into UFC 330. Can Ian Garry use his height, reach, movement, and improved wrestling defense to keep Islam Makhachev from controlling the fight for 25 minutes? Or will Makhachev eventually close the distance, establish his grappling, and suffocate Garry with pressure and positional control? The answer will come when the cage door closes in Philadelphia